What's that you say? New Bong Joon-ho movie just dropped? What's that you say? Commentary on the state of both capitalism in our society, but also society in the world at large, and on the idea of a disposable workforce throughout the world. Who keeps letting my man cook?
I don't like you.
But I'm you.
I'm not you. I'm gonna kill you.
And today we have Mickey 17. Dude, talk about an incredibly, I say original, it is technically an adaptation of, I believe it's a short story. Talking about creative concepts for a film, or creative films to kind of come out of the woodwork in this forest of live action remakes and franchise resurrections and such. Spoiler alert, I thought it was really good. Mickey 17 is the latest feature film by director Bong Joon-ho. And that name might sound a little bit familiar, and I'll tell you why. Arguably, Parasite is what I think really cemented him firmly in the American, zeitgeist? Is that the right word here? Snowpiercer, not the TV series, I haven't seen that yet, but the movie with Chris Evans and whatnot. Okja, again, another one filled with American actors, but the creme de la creme, as it were. So I've seen The Host. My geography teacher back in high school showed us The Host. Should he have? I've heard Memories of Murder is supposed to be excellent. In my opinion, he's just fantastic at what he does. Is Mickey 17 his strongest film? No, I don't think so. Different kind of messaging, but still a commentary on, the socio-political climate that we face, but you'd think it would just be Americans, but then he also explains it's around the world, and I think it's messaging that can really translate, universally, Getting ahead of myself once again. If you were to have known anything about this movie in advance, or for any reason due to the marketing, it does star Robert Pattinson. I think the last time that I fully covered him as an actor was in my review for The Batman. No, I take it back. I think I covered him in Boy and the Heron, and it was cool to see him in this role, playing opposite himself, similar yet different. We'll get to that shortly. Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette in this film are great. Mark Ruffalo plays a very...
The one and only pure colony planet.
The one and only Niflheim!
I don't want to do any name drops here, but let's just say this film has a bunch of red baseball caps, and I think the parallel is pretty obvious there. Mickey 17, based off a short story/book that I admittedly have not read. The premise of the film, if you are somehow not aware, planet Earth is not a great place. It's getting more and more dangerous to live. You got this guy Mickey who's down and out, down on his luck, and everybody's trying to get off world, but it's very hard to get off world. And there's this secular, politically, theologically funded expedition that wants to go and colonize planets and all this, but it's hard to get on that ship as well. So Mickey signs up for what's called this Expendables crew, which is that they, after signing a lot of contracts that basically sign away your life and your health and your safety, one of very few people who actually volunteers for this, because it is completely unethical and completely dangerous. But you sign up, they copy your brain, your experiences, and then they have you do experiments and do dangerous jobs, viral contagion, see what the symptoms are, how long it takes to kill you, send you in first, to the in line of danger, or to go cave diving, or to do deep space ship repair, etc., etc. And basically, if you die at any point, they can just make print a copy of you with various meat and other trash refuse waste from the ship. Then you have Mickey 2, Mickey 3, Mickey 4. I think you see where I'm going with this. One day, something happens where they think he died, but he didn't. He gets back to the ship, gets back to his bunk, turns in for the night, and boom, there's another of him, the newest copy that's been printed out. But this one's a little bit different, a little bit more malicious. You start to realize these copies might not be as carbon as you think, and then boom, you have the movie. I always try to go with a group of people to see a movie, not only because doing this in numbers is a fun activity, but I like to have other opinions, especially ones that might challenge my own when going to see movies, so I can really try to get different reactions and people's various headspaces and all that. A few of us thought it was one of his weaker films. I think it's not perfect, but I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was very fun and had a lot to say. It's a painfully accurate commentary on both global societies and capitalism, particularly regarding a disposable workforce. A lot of jobs out there, that are dangerous and risky. People will die in those jobs, and then instead of the job being changed or altered, or maybe the job facing some repercussions, more often than not, they'll just hire somebody else to slot them in and keep doing the dangerous job. And that's a lot of jobs, not only in America, but also in the world at large. That's kind of the commentary we're going for here, the idea of these Mickeys, where it's they view him as subhuman because they're like, oh, what's the real danger? Like, he dies, we make another one, he can just keep dying over and over again doing the hard jobs, and we'll all be better off for it, without realizing the mental turmoil that goes into experiencing death over and over again. That's kind of how some companies and corporations and people look at the workforce today in the world is disposable. Like, doesn't matter how many people die doing these jobs, we can always bring someone else in who needs the money or the opportunity, and we'll get the work done one way or another. Mark Ruffalo's character being a guy that was not doing politically well in the States and here on planet Earth, and decides, I'll take my most avid supporters and with the financial backing of a theology that I'm going to go ahead and tell people I'm committing to. So it's like, yes, in the name of this religion and all this and their generous funding, we will go out and strike out into the unknown, find a new planet, we'll colonize it ourselves, and we'll have our own society out here. I know it's not just America, but like I said, as soon as you see that first scene and you see those red baseball caps come out to play, then you're like, okay, well, I can clearly see what the inspiration was for all of this. The people that need to see this and understand what's going on, they're not going to see it. It's not too obnoxious and egregious of a political commentary. I think that it's a little bit obvious what they're saying and doing. It's entertaining, it's important. I think it's done as tastefully as it can be while showing the gross misconduct of the system. I love I put quote space trucker aesthetic. It's that kind of dirty sci-fi, that grungy, that's high concept science fiction. Obviously, we're able to clone and make copies of people, interstellar travel, colonizing, with all these high-tech sci-fi, but everything is still like dirty and grungy and dangerous and lived in and used, and just I always like that aesthetic. It always crops back up in science fiction. I like it a lot. Performances are great, of course. If you've seen Robert Pattinson in a project he signed up for, you're in for a good time. I think all the actors in this movie all do an incredible job.
Black diamond, beautiful, shimmering purity.
Great across the board, not really any complaints personally. I found it darkly funny and entertaining. Motifs of both, and this is very fitting, I just bring this up since Severance. I mean, it's a very key theme in this last season of Severance, no spoilers. The motifs of Chikai Bardo and self-forgiveness. So, I mean, the whole idea is that every copy of Mickey is similar but also unique and different in its own little minute ways, and this gal that he meets on the spaceship is able to attest to that. They fall in love with each other, they have a relationship, and she's like, yeah, I knew you from like Mickey number 1, and you're the same, but there's definitely, some of them are more cuddly, some of them are a bit more prickly, some of them are funnier, some of them are meaner. The idea now that literally after him accruing all this trauma of repeated deaths, and obviously he has his own resentments toward the system that he, due to woeful ignorance, signed up for this to get out of his bad situation back on Earth. He has all that trauma built up and kind of stored in his memory banks, and now a newer version of him has been spun up that's a bit more hard to put it to words.
Are you afraid to die? Kinda, yeah. You died plenty of times. What are you so scared of?
The idea of him and him fighting each other to try to survive, it's the whole concept of Chikai Bardo. It is that ego death, or in this case, ego fighting. He's fighting this aspect of himself, because ultimately it is him, just a differently portrayed facet of his personality. And I loved seeing that play out on screen and watching the development of these two different Mickeys. And then, self-forgiveness, where it's this other part of him, both parts of him kind of help each of their own journeys. They're kind of coming to terms with who they are, how they actually feel, and then you kind of see some like low-key character arcs on both sides. I really liked watching it. It's a surprisingly layered portrayal of a character through that lens of two facets of himself, fighting himself through Chikai Bardo, and then seeing how that pans out. I really enjoyed that. And the only notes I had on the film in terms of like negatives, I'm not gonna spoil how the film ends, but I will say it is a tad sudden. I'm okay with it. I mean, it's not like boom, whoa, it's just like, it's more like boom. Oh, okay, sure, that makes sense. I get what they were going for. I think it works for the most part, but I almost would have liked to have seen how a different cut or a differently written version of the ending would go. At the end of the day, I don't think it super duper bogs down the film, but I think just the suddenness, I felt it enough to include it as a note, so here we are. Only the mildest of pacing issues. It doesn't super affect the film, but there's little moments here and there where I was like, okay, you could have changed this, maybe tightened up that. It's not enough to like deduct a whole ass point. It's more of a personal gripe for me, but I put in my notes here. This movie has one of those, I don't like the trope of, I bet you're wondering how I got here. It always bugs me because you're like, well, there go the stakes. Clearly he makes it that far. It's just weird to me whenever a film's like, I bet you're wondering how he got to this position. Well, here's my tale. Like, I don't know. I would argue Mickey 17 is an example of, okay, well, it does it right, and then once you catch up to that point, it definitely goes that more of the movie is past that point than not. More of a personal gripe from me. I'm not going to let that affect my rating as much as the other points that I've made. End of the day, I don't think enough of you people have seen this movie. And if you have and you don't like it, I get that. Feel free to list your reasons below. Mickey 17, in my opinion, is perhaps not Bong Joon-ho's best film so far. In terms of like films this year, it is one of the more unique films. I really, really enjoyed it. I'd love to see it again. I think that I would be confident in giving Mickey 17, at the very least, a high 4 out of 5. For me personally, a high 4 out of 5. It's not perfect, but it's definitely like up there. It's great. That's all I gotta say about Mickey 17 though. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next movie review that I do. And goodbye, travelers.